Hey everybody, it's Reagan. It's day 2 of Memphis so far. Um, yeah, yesterday was my first time flying ever. It was definitely fun. I can say that I will be flying back to Fort Wayne from Memphis, so that's good to know. We had 2 pretty good flights though, from Memphis to Charlotte, and then Charlotte back to, not Memphis, just from Fort Wayne to Charlotte, and then Charlotte to Memphis. And once we got to Memphis here, we had some awesome fish yesterday. I'm not a big seafood person, but I could say that we definitely had some good fish down. That was a little bit weird. It disconnected there. We got to do some interactive games last night though. Everybody was playing around with the kids at the Ronald McDonald House, and it was a lot of fun. I forget if I said this before or after the internet went out, but that got to me a little bit. Not like today did, but that one was a little emotional. Getting up today, we started off with the Civil Rights Museum here in Memphis. That, I think, did more for me than, I hate to say this, most of my history classes going through schooling. Just to actually see everything, pictures, read it all there, that hit home. You know where these places are, you see different things. I didn't realize how much happened here in Memphis until I saw when Memphis was emphasized with some of the stuff. Because when you just read it on a book, they're just cities, they're anywhere. But when you're like there and you see the balcony where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. got shot, you can go across the street to the old boarding house where the shot was fired from, and you actually see it, and everything with the progression up through today, that you realize how far people have come, and you look back at how far people have had to come and how not all opportunities have been there for people. And that just starts to get you a little bit. This afternoon though was definitely probably the hardest part of the trip so far. We went to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and from the moment we walked in there, I can say I was definitely getting emotional. We took some pictures out front. They had a little welcome banner for us. As soon as we walked in though, we saw a couple of the kids we saw last night at the Ronald McDonald House who were out playing with us, hanging out. Even a couple that didn't come and play with us, we still saw them today, and just see that recognition of, okay, I saw them last night and they were kids last night, and then to see them today, like they're. And if you're a patient, you have your worries about you and getting better, but you don't have the medical like expense worries, or the like the transportation they work out for you, the if you can pay, if you can't pay, they do all of that. And just going through the hospital and seeing everything when it was founded in 1960, and after seeing the Civil Rights Museum this morning and seeing what was happening in Memphis in 1960, to see that the hospital was all-inclusive, anyone could come in. They emphasized one of the original designers, when they had people do layouts of it, had segregated bathrooms because everything was still segregated in Memphis at the time. And they tossed that idea out. They said this is a all-inclusive, fully integrated hospital. People who can't pay, all races, all ethnicities, everyone is getting treatment at this hospital. So, and that, I don't even know how to get into it fully for you guys. I know I really got emotional. Afterwards, we were kind of talking with the people who had given us our tour. I was emotional. I know probably about half the group who came was getting a little bit teary-eyed. We had somebody who works in their charity part of St. Jude's that came in and shared her story with us. She used to be a patient there, and she went through details of how when she first found out she had cancer, she had bone cancer, and she went through when she started to see symptoms and signs a little bit, but they didn't know, like, they're like, oh, it's just from like this part of life, like you don't think anything of it, to she had an x-ray and they're like, okay, you need to go, like this isn't right. And then the 2 years she spent with St. Jude's and her life now, and how St. Jude's still affects her and how it impacted her. Just to hear that, I was starting to pull it together before she started talking, and then she started talking and I fell apart again a little bit. I'd like to thank them for hosting us today. It meant a lot. It was definitely an experience I will remember forever, to say the least. We're definitely going to help them out and do something for them when we get back to Fort Wayne. We don't know what yet, so stay tuned